Callahan Injury Lawyers. Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios. It's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Welcome in, Hunt and Hill, on a Tuesday from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios downtown in the capital city. I am Hunt Palmer. He is Hill, Jeremy Hill, Casey Gaines, Taylor Sharp back there on the ones and twos. Mr. Hill, how are you?
Doing great after watching that LSU Tigers defense last night. How about that defense?
We'll get to that here to lead off the show. I want to preview everything else. A lot of football the rest of the way in this hour. An hour from right now, 1 o'clock, Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach, will chat with us about the fall that was. They wrapped up fall practice this past weekend with the Purple and Gold World Series, played a couple of scrimmages. So we'll talk to Jay Johnson in an hour about what he saw from his club in fall number 1. College football preview, college football playoff show is tonight. We'll talk about that a little bit in the second hour. And Pete Vutek from College Football News will jump aboard to talk about that. Coaching searches, a lot of places to check with Pete in hour number 2. But as you mentioned, we're going to start with LSU Belmont from last night. Tigers absolutely waylay Belmont, 83-53. I've got stats, nuggets, numbers, but I'll toss it to you first. Your impressions from watching that last night?
Man, we got some athletes. That's the first thing you notice is watching that defense. Very, very active in the passing lane. And I think the biggest thing you notice, it's very tough for teams to get to the rim with Efton protecting the rim like he does. Just a true rim protection presence that he has down there, ability to get rebounds. It's going to be tough for teams to score on us. I was very pleased by watching the defensive performance, and obviously they turned a lot of that into transition points. So I think that's going to be the strong suit of this year's versions of LSU.
Look, I said it yesterday on the podcast. I said it here. I thought that the defense they had played early in the season was good, was improved, but this would be the biggest test they had gotten, and they passed it with flying colors. It was unbelievable. As I called it on the podcast, the sleeper hold that LSU put Belmont into. Belmont had not been held in the 50s since November 13 of 2019. So, and LSU held them to 53. Belmont had not been beaten by 30 points since 2009. This is a program that wins a lot of basketball games. It has a lot of guys back from a team that won a lot of games last year. Belmont made back-to-back shots in this game only 3 times in the first 35 minutes. Can't get a run going, can't get any momentum going if you can't make back-to-back shots. Belmont shot 32% from the floor, 26% from 3, and they only shot 5 free throws. Meanwhile, LSU forced them into 16 turnovers. LSU had 15 steals, blocked 7 shots, and it's everybody out there making an impact. It's the guards out front. It's the wings in the passing lanes. It's the guys in the front court blocking shots. It is a remarkable group to watch on the defensive end right now.
Yeah, it is. And I know you talked a lot about, them switching everything.
Yeah.
Maybe last year just wasn't the lineup you would want. I think these kids really fit that defense well. It's very tough. It was tough for Belmont to break the defense down time and time again to open shots for other people. And when they got to the rim, Efton was waiting right there. Tari was waiting right there. We're blocking a bunch of shots, playing the passing lane, just being very, very agitative on the defensive side of the ball. And then Coach Wade was mixing in some of that full court press, making them really, have sometimes 14, 15 seconds just to run their offense. And they couldn't do it time and time again to really execute at a high level. And that was due to the high pressure and high volume that our defense was putting on. So, like I said before, I think that's going to be the strong suit of this team. And a guy like Days only had to score 9 points. I just watching early on in the season, I thought he was going to have to do the heavy lifting in the scoring department. That's not going to ever have to be the case if you're playing defense like that.
It's the same coach. It's the same defense. They're just better at it. They have defensive-minded players. I don't get everything right. A long shot. But this was one that I could kind of see as I looked at the roster taking shape. I went, when you take Cam Thomas and Trendon Watford and Javonte Smart off the floor and you put in a Xavier Pinson, you put in Eric Gaines, you throw Eric Reed in there, Mawani starts and plays a lot of minutes, you just have guys out there that are better defenders. They are more defensive-minded. They're not as good on offense. They don't have Cam Thomas on this team. Score 27 with his eyes closed. Trendon Watford breaking guys down off the bounce. I mean, Javonte shot 40% from 3 last year. Like, they're not quite as good on the offensive end, but they are worlds better on the defensive end. So it wasn't really a coaching issue. a system issue, an effort. They just didn't have great defensive players last year, and now they do. And I thought last night on the defensive end, one of the things that was really impressive was the ability to double the post. When Belmont threw it down there, I keep confusing Liberty and Belmont. It's driving me nuts. When Belmont threw it down into the post, LSU sent a double team just about every time, and it was timed well. It was from the right spot. At times it surprised the Belmont post. They forced some turnovers out of it, got some steals, made them uncomfortable, pushed them away from the basket. It was so good to see that kind of cohesion, that kind of discipline, and really executing exactly what they wanted to do. And because of that, you're looking at a guy who's been all-conference 3 times in Mazinski. He goes 1 for 4 from the floor. He's 6'11", and has been their leading scorer all year. He goes 1 for 4 from the floor. That's good playing.
Yeah, that's definitely what you love to see. And I thought Mazinski, if they were to have any chance to win that game, he was going to have a day, and he couldn't get going. We forced him all the way out to the three-point line. He was trying to get some threes off, and he just wasn't very comfortable on the block. Couldn't get anything going down there. We were sending a ton of bodies at him, and he couldn't get any rhythm. I think for me, the breath of fresh air watching that game yesterday was Brandon Murray. I think he had a phenomenal game on the offensive side of the ball, just attacking, shooting the ball from the outside, making free throws, just doing everything you want to see. Fast break game, he was scoring as well. If you can get scoring from him, this team is going to be very viable, because now you're not going to have to put all the scoring load on Darius Days, and you can depend on some other guys to get you some buckets out there.
Yeah, Days was off. 1 of 4 from the three-point line. Only shot it 6 times total in the game. Didn't matter. The team picked him up, and as a unit, they shot 54% from the floor. They were 13 of 15 from the free throw line. They limited the turnovers to just 12, and I thought did a really good job on offense. You mentioned Murray. That's a guy that's not going to be the most highly touted new ad they bring in. You got, obviously Efton Reed is a 5-star player. Eason's a starter from Cincinnati for times. Pinson started at Missouri. Those are the guys you're thinking of. But Murray's thrust into action because Adam Miller's down, and he's a player, man. He knocked down all 3 of his threes last night. He's really good on the defensive end. He made both of his free throws, got some rebounds, dished out 2 assists, had a steal. He's not the focal point of the team, but he's a really nice piece to this puzzle, which is working really good together right now.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. And I think for me, especially just watching the team all year, you can't point to a liability on the defensive side. They all have done a great job switching position to position, rotating. If they're on the big and the post, there are no guys just getting punished down there. The help is coming. They're so locked in on their rotations. That's why you're forcing so many turnovers. They got a couple good looks, but for the most part, all their threes, there was a hand in someone's face, and you got to make a contested three. And that's the type of defense you're going to have night in and night out if you want to be a team that's respected. And I love what Coach Wade has been doing with the team.
So the question that I got a lot is how good is Belmont? Because we talked them up big time, and I stand by everything that we said leading up to the game. Now, you watch that game on the floor, and you see that they've got a guy out there that's already committed to be a high school basketball coach next year, and we've got some guys who are going to be pros. Like, that's pretty obvious. But they're still – that team is good and would win some SEC games and will win a ton of games in their league. There's a reason when they win their league and the tournament, which they do most years, they get in, it's like a 13 or 14 seed, sometimes sneak up to the 12 line. They're not an elite top 25 team. I didn't mean to insinuate that. They're just a good basketball team. They're well coached. They're old. They've played a lot together. They've won a ton of games, and they're going to continue to do that. So no, this is not a team that would contend for the SEC. This doesn't mean that they're some elite team or that LSU's a top 5 team because they blew them out. It's not quite that, but the fact remains they're still pretty good, and LSU totally and completely outclassed them. It started out 7-0, so not from start to finish, but from 7-0 on, it was totally non-competitive, and I think that, to me, is what LSU should do if they're going to compete for the SEC championship. You assert yourself against some lesser teams like this, and they certainly did it last night.
Yeah, you just should look at it. And I think I said it last night watching the game. I think Eric Gaines had still on a fast break, and it looked like he was about to lay it in, and he just slammed it down hard. And I said, I don't think they got many guards on their team that can do that. They just probably don't. It's just a different type of level of athleticism, and I love the full court pressure that they bring. It creates a ton of fast break opportunities. It makes it tough for teams to run their set. So I like what Coach Wade's cooking with. He gave the fans what they wanted. Put my boy Parker in the game last night. So you love to see it, man. You love to see it.
Had some wow moments last night. night. One on the negative when Eason went and missed that dunk. But he came back the next time and he made sure to put it home with two hands in that time. And then the other one was obviously the block where they're running. And was it Eason that got
Eason
the first one? And then Mwani got the second one. That sent the place into a frenzy. That's the thing. They're so exciting. It doesn't always have to be splashing threes from deep. Blocking shots at the rim is pretty fun too.
Oh yeah, definitely. Just a ton of defense. I say that's the first thing that wowed me last night. It's just tough. It's tough to score, man. Guys can't break you down off the dribble. Obviously, you think you got a fast break open layup. You got Tari Eason running down like he's LeBron James or something. You love to see it, man. I love watching our Tigers play defense. It was a pleasure to watch that last night.
Cool environment. It was good last night for a Monday in November. What'd you think?
Oh yeah, definitely. Definitely a lot more, especially if you got a chance to go to the Liberty game. That was definitely a lot bigger environment, a lot louder, a lot rowdy. Obviously, things got out of hand pretty quick there, but the crowd was definitely in it, and it was a great environment for LSU.
I think if they can go take care of business in Destin against some Power 5 teams, which they'll see this coming up week, they got Penn State to start, and then some form, maybe Wake Forest in down there in Destin. I think the buzz will start to really generate. I think it started in this town a little bit. People are excited, and they see what's going on. I think they're going to come want to see it. But you go win a couple games on Thanksgiving holiday weekend where you're on TV and everybody can watch. I think they'll start getting some real crowds in there, and that's the hope at least that this team kind of moves forward. And they look pretty good right now. I mean, what do you think about this team's ceiling? That's the question I get all the time.
Yeah, man. Just looking at the SEC, there's some teams in the SEC now that we can't get too far ahead of ourselves. But I think you're laying the groundwork. Obviously, you schedule these teams to kind of get a testing ground to see where you are. And obviously, they passed with flying colors thus far. So I think you've started out on the right front. I think you've kind of guys are really knowing what their roles are. And guys, we got to get Xavier to chill out on the threes a little bit here and there. But I think for the most part, everyone
just shot 4. He was 2-4 last night. It's fine.
Yeah, he's fine. But just getting everyone knowing their roles and knowing what Coach Wade's asking of them. I think guys are really coming into that now. So you're gonna get some bigger tests to really know. But I'm feeling good about this team. I definitely think they can contend for the SEC.
I liked Will Wade's press conference from last night. It sounded like a guy who knows this team's pretty good, and that's exciting. He wasn't. I mean, it's tough to do when you win by 30 to get up there and berate them and tell them everything they did wrong. But you just kind of sense in the way he talks and what he says that he knows that this team's pretty good. So that's exciting stuff, and I'm pumped up to continue to watch this team grow and move forward now that football is about to be in the rearview mirror. We'll get a new coach in here, but the basketball team appears to be picking up the slack there. That's really, really exciting stuff. Jay Johnson's going to be with us at 1 o'clock. Pete Futek in the second hour. We are off and running here on a Tuesday edition of Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. It's Hunt and Hill. FanDuel sports betting is coming. We'll let you know when it's live, but it's not. And that means you can still download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and get $100 in free site credit. The app is so easy to use. They give you odds boost. They give you super boosts on the weekend. You can live bet. It's safe, it's secure, 100% legal and regulated. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Register now. Get $100 in free site credit. We've changed the promo code. So listen, we changed the promo code. Was WNXX, not anymore, so don't put that in. Put in 1045 ESPN. All one word, 1045 ESPN. That's your promo code. $100 in free site credit. Who doesn't want $100? You're about to spend a bunch of money on Christmas. Might as well win it back. FanDuel Sportsbook, $100 in free site credits. Must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP. We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can, understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
It's the Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Take a look back at the weekend in college football. We did not do that yesterday. Obviously had a ton of news with the Ed Ogeron press conference, Elias Riggs, talking about the coaching search, had some Saints as well. So I want to go back and look at what we saw over the weekend in the SEC. I guess the most interesting result was Florida dropping that overtime game to Missouri. Then Eli Drinkwitz wearing the Darth Vader deal with the lightsaber. I'd forgotten. I knew Dan Mullen wore the Darth Vader thing. I'd forgotten it was after Missouri. So it was a little bit of a payback thing. I didn't realize that when I was asked about that on the air. But, whatever, a little pettiness. I don't think you necessarily do it if you know the guy's about to get fired. It's a little salt in the wound. But, it was interesting, to say the least.
Oh, very interesting. Look, I don't mind a little pettiness, a little salt here, a little salt on the wound there, especially if it comes at the hand of Florida. Like, I'll never complain about that. So thank you, Eli. That was a great move by you. And plus, we kind of said it early on in the week. If Florida found a way to go to a bad Missouri, no defense, I mean, you just scored 70 the week before, and you go out and do that. We said Dan was going to be on that hot seat, and looks like those
not on any seat anymore.
Yeah, he's not on any seat anymore.
It's a rich one. He's a rich seat. He gets $6 million in the next 2 weeks, then $1 million a year for the next 6 years. Then obviously South Carolina beating Auburn 21-17. A little bit of buzz for SEC Coach of the Year, maybe for Shane Beamer. I think you could obviously throw Sam Pittman in there, and Kirby Smart certainly deserves a ton of credit as well. Where do you lie there?
Man, obviously the Bo show that we've got to be talking about all year. Obviously, TJ had to play in that environment, and obviously I thought South Carolina, that thought that game against Florida was, kind of a blip on the radar, but man, they play well at home to finally, win that game. And obviously Auburn, this is the year. Up and down years, some notable wins here and there, but you don't bring Harsin over there to go 6-6, and that's just not what Auburn wants to be, especially when you got Alabama down the street. So hopefully next year they can turn that thing around, but just a tough loss to the Gamecocks, man. That's not something I thought would happen. I had Auburn in that one.
So Coach of the Year, who you got? It's not over yet. South Carolina can still beat Clemson. Arkansas, Missouri, that doesn't do much for you, but Kirby's got to have an undefeated season.
Yeah, I think you either got to go Kirby or you got to go Lane. You got to go
Lane.
Yeah, you got to go Lane. They go 10-2, man. That's very respectable at Ole Miss, man. You can't really point to too many 10-2 regular seasons for the Ole Miss Rebels. So I think if Lane does that, I think you really have to give it to him and really give it some consideration, just dealing with the injuries they have to deal with on offense and still find a way to be competitive and win games all throughout the season. So my first choice, obviously Kirby. That's just total dominance, but I wouldn't be shocked if they kind of slip on the lane.
Alabama gives up 35 points to Arkansas. Is cause for concern?
Nah. I wouldn't say cause for concern. I think
really? Giving up 35 points to Arkansas?
I'll tell you why. I think when you got Bryce cooking the way he has, man, look, just give that kid the ball. I think their defense has been up and down all year for whatever reason. I think mostly the corners on the outside. I think their D-line and has played well, but their corners guys have been making plays on their corner this year. That's normally what you don't see from Alabama defense. Traylon Burks just went completely off on them. Just had a day on them, but I'm not worried, man. I'm not worried about Nick. I think he's got to put Bryce in position to win games after game, and I don't have no worries just yet about Alabama.
I could not disagree more. I think they're a good team. I don't think they're anywhere close to what they are in some of those championship years.
Okay.
And I think that's evident when you look at what Texas A&M pushing around and beating them. Florida had them right there in their grasp. Arkansas is an onside kick away. They scored 35 points. LSU's in the game with them late with a chance to win it with the ball. Like, that's just not we hold them to an impossible standard, but they tend to meet it more often than they don't. And this year they're just not. And I think they'll show up. I think they'll beat Auburn this week because I don't think Auburn's very good. I don't think TJ Finley's very good. And I think they'll show up with some pride, and they've got enough playmakers to make things interesting against Georgia for a little bit. But I think that game's going to get away from them in the second half. I think Georgia's just better. I just everywhere. They're just better everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that, but I want you to do a little assessment here. I want you to go through Georgia's schedule and tell me where you say that team was pretty good that they laid a beating on.
Yeah, but they just beat the brakes off everybody, and Alabama's not beating the brakes off anybody. Alabama's letting everybody hang around.
I get it. I mean, I'm looking at Georgia. I mean, yes, what they've done this year is extremely incredible. Florida, not what Florida is. Auburn, not what Auburn is. Clemson, not what Clemson is. A lot of these teams, they're just not normally what they are. In Georgia, obviously, you got to tip your cap. They handle business, but none of these teams are even ranked. So I really, have they even beaten a ranked team like that's ranked till to this day right now? I can't point to one. Tennessee, the
East stinks. I mean, the East is bad.
so I mean, so would it be totally shocking to me if Nick found a way to go beat Georgia when Georgia hasn't really played a soul all year? Clemson, with their offense being the way they have been all year. I'm not gonna disrespect Nick too much right now. I'm not gonna go there yet. So We'll see. We'll see from Georgia. We'll see. They'll get a chance to answer the bell, but I just don't think they played anyone that I would say, man, that was an impressive win. They beat the crap out of this team. Really, it's been not up to scruff for me.
All right, let's take a look outside the SEC because our power rankings are coming up in the next segment. We'll get to those. Let's look around at some of the just lopsided losses by top 10 teams. Mm-hmm. Oregon is they were an underdog, but they went on the road to Utah and lost 38-7. How much were you surprised by that?
So totally shocked. Moscona was trying to tell me all during the pregame show, look, man, Utah. I'm like, I don't know about that. But look, that was an impressive win. That wasn't even close. The Utes went out there and handled business. So obviously the Pac-12 winner, probably no Pac-12 winner in the playoff.
There won't be.
You can just scratch that right now. So, man, it's opening up for one of these teams that I didn't think I'd ever see the day, but it's looking more and more like a reality now, especially with no ACC winner looking like and no Pac-12 winner. Man, it's looking tough.
If you're the USC athletic director and you're looking at this, you've got such an opportunity here. That conference can't get anybody in the playoff. Nobody's taking the conference by the throat. And you're USC. You are the one brand in that league. I mean, you could make the case because of Oregon's got Nike and they got cool uniforms. I use air quotes there very seriously. But it's right there for the taking if they could just get it right. And they let Clay Helton just flap in the breeze for 2 extra years. But they've got a chance to get this thing right. And the Pac-12, once again, like you said, will be out. Another team that will be out is Michigan State, 56-7. At halftime, it was 49-0. That is not great.
Look, I hope Mel, the second that they put that paper on his desk, look, Mel, you got to sign that paper, my brother. You got to sign that paper.
DocuSign. Click it on your phone.
Look, you got to sign that right now because you take too many more slackings like that, man. They're going to pull that letter right off that table. That was embarrassing, man. And I don't know. Michigan State has one of the worst pass defenses in the country. And
it is the worst statistically now.
Yeah, so when you're a defensive head coach, that's the last thing you want to see.
That's his spot, though. He's a defensive backs coach. Like,
that's
ouch.
My point. That's my point. That's a bad look, man. So Mel, you might want to sign that quick because that's just not a good look, man. So Michigan State right out of it, and it's set up for another beautiful Ohio State-Michigan matchup for all the marbles, and that's really what it's going to boil down to.
The two teams that are more so than anyone else in a beauty contest because they don't have meaningful conferences to win to get into the playoff are Cincinnati and Notre Dame. Cincinnati played what people think is a solid SMU team. I'll snicker at that thought because it's SMU. I get it. They did win 48-14, and then Notre Dame played Georgia Tech and beat them 55-0. And those are the teams that have to look pretty. During the 19 season, as things were getting down to crunch time, and we had Ohio State, LSU, and Clemson all sitting there jockeying at the end, I kept saying it's a beauty contest at this point. It's like how many people can you convince with what you do down the stretch? No matter who you play, you got to wear them out. So LSU beating A&M 50-7 and then going to the Georgia Dome and running the score up on Georgia was a big deal, and it ended up leapfrogging them over. And Ohio State had trouble in the Big Ten championship game, and even though they won, the beauty contest wins out. And Cincinnati and Notre Dame are right in the middle of that now. And obviously they played each other, and that should matter a lot, but I don't think it's going to be the only thing that matters. And those two teams did go out there and post a number.
Yeah, they did. And Notre Dame, I was telling this to Matt before, I guess Wisconsin is a game that they can point to, but where's their notable win?
Wisconsin's just got a good run defense. Like that's their whole – that's all there's just to Wisconsin.
Yeah, so you're going to lose to a non-Power 5 school, and you don't really have a notable win against a ranked opponent, and you don't play in a conference championship game, yet they're going to probably let them just trot into the college football playoff just because they're Notre Dame. That's what it's looking like to me. I don't like it, obviously, especially when you got the Big Ten teams playing their schedules, and obviously you got the Alabama and Georgia doing what they're doing this year. You're going to let a one-loss Notre Dame who lost to a non-Power school. I guess that's what it's looking like. And then, I don't know, man. I don't know how they just put Cincinnati in there, especially with Notre Dame's resume and who's Notre Dame's beat. I guess they're going to have to, though. It's just I don't like either one of those teams. But the more and more time goes by, the more and more these games get played, it's looking like they're going to have a case at the end.
We'll talk to Pete Futek in an hour, and we'll see what his thoughts are. The interesting thing that we had kind of totally written off, and then here it comes. Clemson's going to win the ACC. They're going to win. Wake goes to Boston College at 11 a.m. on Saturday, and if they lose that game, Clemson's in the title game, and they'll win because the ACC is that bad. And we had written them off like 6 weeks ago, and then all of a sudden they pop up and they run Wake off the field 48-27, and now they're one Wake Forest loss away from getting in the conference championship game.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't be too shocking. I mean, obviously every preseason pick, anyone with half a brain pick comes in to win the ACC, so now they're in the thick of things. It shouldn't be that shocking to us, but just watching their offense, the up and down play that they've had all year, very shocking that they've had 3 losses to some of the teams. Obviously, the Georgia loss, understandable, but for the other ones, very disappointing for Clemson team who's really, just like us, coming off a national championship run and really a ton of players back and their quarterback back who they've, on Dr. Pepper commercials, you would think that, they would be in the thick of things. But, they'll need a little help here. We'll see if Dabo can get this thing switched around. But there is no way the ACC winner is going to be in the playoffs, so we ain't got to worry about that.
It's certainly not. SEC Power Rankings coming up next. Jay Johnson at 1 o'clock. It's Hunt and Hill.
Holding down the middle of the day. This is Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150s. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. The place is going to be convenient for you during that inconvenient time, and it's even more convenient now. Now you have 8 convenient locations, with the Bruley location just opening up. So go check them out online, patientplusuc.com, because remember, they are your place for your sniffles, for your colds, for your stitches, for your COVID test. They have all that available over at Patient Plus. For more information, visit them at patientplusuc.com. Get in and get better.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
If home is where the heart is, a roof is a shield. That's why for over 25 years, South Louisiana always turns to Garcia Roofing and Sheet.
It's round 3 of the Prep Football Playoffs, and we get you started Friday night at 6 with Louisiana Prep Preview. Catholic High and St. Paul's kick off at 7, immediately followed by a full 2 hours of the Louisiana Prep Scoreboard Show. On YouTube, Your View, and 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 1045 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jason Garrett just got fired.
Look, man.
Festive Thanksgiving in the Garrett household.
Look, the head coach calls you out at the press conference. Those antennas better start getting rose up pretty quick there. And look, the next morning you see what happened. So Not a shocker there.
They're a mess. I mean, just a mess. That pick last night where he just threw it to the other team. I mean, I realize that's what an interception is, but like it was right to the defensive player.
Oh man, yeah, the Giants being the Giants, man. Look, New York football teams, on both sides, man. Look, just not looking good over these.
Nobody in New York can get it together. Are the Knicks still decent?
They're okay. I mean,
they've been awful for 30 years. So
yeah, they're okay. I mean, they got to the playoffs last year. People were losing their minds. That's how desperate they were for any sort of success. But New York teams, man, just not looking good.
I mean, the Yankees can't get out of their own way. The Mets are a disaster. I don't even know about the Rangers. The Knicks have been horrendous for 25 years.
Yep.
Who am I missing?
The Nets,
Brooklyn.
Yeah.
All right, let's do some SEC power rankings. I'll start this time. I usually kick it over to you, but I'll kick it off this time. Georgia number 1, obviously they're number 1 in everything. Still Alabama at number 2. I don't have really any issues there. Got Ole Miss at number 3. Continue to be just good enough. I don't know if that was the greatest performance I've ever seen against Vanderbilt, but they won the game, so you take that. And we'll see. The Egg Bowl should be interesting in a couple of days for sure. Then I've got Texas A&M at number 4. Defense is still excellent. The running game's pretty good. They're really banged up at receiver, and we'll talk about that over the next couple of days. Kind of struggling to find guys. Moose Muhammad III actually made some plays for them on Saturday, but they're banged up there. But the defense has been great, so that's my top 4: Georgia, Bama, Ole Miss, A&M.
Yep, mine is the literally exact same from last week. Not much has changed. Georgia number 1. Georgia's gutted Georgia. Just defense after defense. You're going to see that all day long. In Alabama, a little shaky from Nick's defense this year. They've had some chinks in the armor, a lot more chinks than you would normally see, but still 10-1, still the top of the SEC West, still on the verge of going to Atlanta again. So I guess not much has changed in Tuscaloosa. And then 3, man, my dark horse for coach of the year, my man Lane, man, just got the Rebels right there at 9-2, a chance to win another Egg Bowl and go to 10-2 and do something special. So gotta respect what the Rebels are doing this year. And then 4, I got A&M as well. Just A&M little brother, never been to Atlanta, never won the SEC. But hey, I guess y'all are top 4.
I love to hear it. Love the Barbs. All right, number 5, I've got the Arkansas Razorbacks. I'm ready for them to get 2 new coordinators. They're a little too plucky for my liking. I need them back towards the cellar. I yearn for the Chad Morris days where you could beat them by 100. But they're just doing a good job. They've got a really old team, and we'll see. All those guys are going to roll off the roster this year. All those COVID guys who came back, and they'll be younger, and they'll lose that veteran edge that they've got over most teams. But I think their coordinators are pretty good. Barry Odom, he's got an undermanned group, but they've done a pretty good job. And then obviously, Kendall Briles has been really good on the offensive end. Let me get these guys a head job somewhere and get them out of Fayetteville. Number 6, I've got the Mississippi State Bulldogs, Mike Leach's squad. Big win over a non-conference team on Saturday, but they've got wins that are more impressive than the other teams that are in the middle of the pack here, and that's what puts them at 6 for me. I've got Tennessee at 7. They go for 60 on Saturday. At least when they show up, they're going to put some pressure on you on the offensive end. Hooker's been great. I think they're kind of rolling a little bit there, so I've got them at 7. And I've got the Kentucky Wildcats at 8. I don't have a ton of great things to say about Kentucky, but once you start moving past 8, I don't have much great things to say about any of these teams. So Kentucky, the best of the worst at that point. I got them at 8.
Yeah, mine's a little different. 5 actually got Mississippi State, man. I'm loving what I'm seeing from Will Rogers, man. He's been throwing the ball all over the yard.
Egg Bowl's going to be lit.
Yeah, it's it. Look, every time I predict a shootout, it's not so late. Let's see some defense on the Egg Bowl this year, because every time I predict a shootout, it's like Missouri versus Florida, and it's a struggle. So, let's see some touchdowns on Saturday. But yeah, I got Mississippi State at 5. 6, I got Kentucky. I like what they've been doing. Obviously, for a Kentucky team to have a chance to win 9 games, possibly 10, I think for Stoops that'd be a heck of an achievement, especially for that Wildcat program. So you got to respect what Kentucky's done this year. And then 7, I got KJ Jefferson Newton, man. I got to throw the Newton on the end because that dude just looked like Cam back there, just shredding dudes off, throwing the ball down the field.
He's so big. He's so much.
Yeah, just hard to get down. Look, I thought we were the only ones. Alabama had trouble getting him on the ground as well. So that kid is a big deal back there at the quarterback position, hard to bring down. And obviously got Arkansas on the verge of winning 9 games possibly this year, so that's impressive as well. And then 8, I got Auburn. I got Auburn at 8. Not much to, like you said, just these teams everywhere.
It starts getting rough down there towards the bottom.
It's not much to cheer on for. I see Bo's out, Harsin in as the head coach, and got this team possibly to 6-6 season. So I'm sure the Tiger faithful up there at Auburn's not too happy about that. But I got them at 8.
9, I've got a team that's moved up pretty significantly over the last couple of weeks. South Carolina Gamecocks, couple of wins, playing hard, no talent, but finding a way with whatever quarterback we decide to go with that week, winning ball games and playing hard for Shane Beamer. He got emotional after the game on Saturday, just talking about the guys and putting things together and going bowling in year one, which I think their win-loss total was 4.5. So really impressive for South Carolina. I've got Auburn at number 10. I don't have really anything that nice to say about Auburn. They snapped their losing streak in Tiger Stadium, and that's been about the crowning achievement of this season, I guess. I guess going to Arkansas and playing really well was nice, but yeah, I got them at 10. I've got Missouri at 11. Look, they won a game. It's good. It's about all I can say. Darth Vader, Florida, and we'll see them here in a second. I've got LSU at number 12 in the league. Where else are you going to put them? I can't in good conscience put them anywhere else, but I can put them ahead of the Florida Gators, who will be number 13, and the Vanderbilt Commodores, who will come in anchoring down at the bottom at number 14.
It's just pain. It's just seeing my Tigers down there. I know it's probably legit. It's probably warranted, but just pain. It hurts. But mine is 9. I got Tennessee. Love what Hype was doing with the plays. I've said that since the start of the year. You got to have some identity there. I think that will only help recruiting, especially the offensive side of the ball. So Tennessee there at 9. 10, I got Missouri. Big win against the original Darth Vader. Now he's at home. He can watch the full series if he wants now.
He can watch it. Revenge of the Sith. I don't know the names of it. Yeah, Return of the Jedi. You can watch whatever you want.
Yeah, you can.
Cool shoes, Dan.
Yeah. You can. Yeah, guess what, Dan? You don't have to worry about recruiting anymore. You don't have to ever pick up a phone again and call a kid.
SEC Media Days is going to be so boring because Dan Mullen can't show up in his cool Air Jordan shoes that everybody talks about all day. Sweet.
Oh, man. All right, 11, I got South Carolina, man. My man Jason Brown just racking up wins at quarterback, man. Who would have thought, man? Jason Brown, multiple wins in the SEC this year. But I guess we're here. Then since we're here, I guess we got to have the Tigers at 12, the bottom of the SEC West. And look, we're not going to go down this again. Look, I'm not even going to talk about my Tigers. It's just too painful. I'd rather talk about Florida, who's at 13 and terrible. They don't have a coach. They stink. They lost to a bad LSU team again.
Yes,
so, yeah, Florida, you're at the bottom, baby. And I love to see it. And then the Doors. You're the Doors. So
Anchor down.
Stay down, brother.
All right, so my idea, we've done this segment every week moving forward. My idea, I'm going to go back and pull the first one we ever did before they kicked to football. We both did our power rankings, 1 through 14. I will write them down. Next week, we will give our final SEC power rankings of the year with the regular season behind us, and we'll see what those original ones look like. I got a feeling it's going to be something.
Oh, it's going to be laughable. It'd be great for radio, though. Yeah, great exercise. I would love to see it.
All right, back to the coaching search to close out hour number 1. We'll talk about a name that we have not really mentioned at all on this show. That's next on Hunt and Hill.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge with Hunt and Hill.
BreakMedics.com. BreakMedics.com. Just a great new service here in the Baton Rouge area. Been very successful over in Texas, so they're bringing it to the 225. They will service your brakes from your home. They will come to your house like they did mine, knock on the door, pull the van up behind your car. They'll get the jack out, jack it up. They will service your brakes right there from home. I know this week a lot of people are at home with the kids. Kids aren't in school. You got to work from home. You don't have time to get up there and get your car serviced, but you're hearing something squeaking or grinding when you're driving around. They'll come out and check it out. If there's nothing needs to be done, they won't do anything, but if you need to have those brakes serviced, they will do it. BreakMedics.com. Go online to the site. Put in your information. They will spit out a quote. They'll set an appointment time. They will come get you back on the road in no time. BreakMedics.com. BreakMedics.com. We make house calls.
Our listeners fire off their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli? I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Coming up on Wednesdays Off the Bench, the final tune-up before Saints Bills. Plus, the Tigers getting ready to upset the Aggies in Death Valley. Oh, yeah, I think so. Plus, we have a brand new Would You Rather Wednesday. Off the Bench, 7 to 10 a.m., 104.5 ESPN.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Jay Johnson in 13 minutes talking about LSU fall baseball. Excited to have the head man on to talk about what he saw over the last couple of months with his new squad. Right now we're talking about going to be the new football coach. Some names surfacing here and there. A lot of people throwing names around. I'm not sure I'm buying much of any of it, but that's all right. It's people's job. Do things like that. Matt Campbell's a name that has come up. The Iowa State head man, been there since 2016. What does that do to you?
It doesn't make me, jump in my chair and, want to do jumping jacks and splits and all that stuff. But, I think he's doing an okay job. I don't know. I think there's some guys out there that I think are a little more, proven. Obviously, he's won some Coaches of the Year in the Big 12, and he's done some good things. And, he's, had some quarterbacks, who've had some success there. But I don't know. I don't know if that's the first name that just jumps off my seat and makes me, want to do a cartwheel. And obviously his record as a head coach, 41-33, not something to, really, go home on and tell mom about. But it's okay. How do you feel about him?
So he is unequivocally the best coach in the history of Iowa State football. No, that's that's not exactly an earth-shattering achievement, but Ames is a very tough spot to win. It's boring. There's no talent around it. There's no history. Your little brother in the state. It's just not an easy place to go win. And since he took over in 2016, they won 32 games over the next 4 years, which is the most in a 4-year stretch in the history of the school. He's been the Big 12 Coach of the Year 3 times, 17, 18, 20, and 20. They've gotten to the Big 12 championship game. They got to a New Year's Six bowl. That had never happened at Iowa State. So he's piloted the best run in that place, which hasn't seen very many good runs. So he's proven to be able to do that. I think there's a difference between being a solid coach in a tough spot and being a championship coach in an elite spot. Like, I don't know what happens if Pat Fitzgerald takes another job, if he takes the Georgia job or the Texas job or the USC job. I don't think he's going to. He's very happy at Northwestern, but he's at a place where if you go 8-4, you've won, you've succeeded. And there's just a difference to me in that and winning championships and not ever having. You can have a bad week. Mm-hmm. You can have 2 bad weeks at Northwestern or at Iowa State, and no one really notices. Mm-hmm. If you have really good weeks. That's not the case when you come to an elite place. So I'm not saying he can't do it. I'm saying it doesn't really fire me up.
Yeah. I think I do the same assessment, and I think I did this, especially after I got in the NFL. And I saw with quarterbacks, and you got to point to the highest because that's where you want to get to. You want to get to the top of the mountain. And so for me, I look at it as like, okay, do I trust my quarterback to go into Kansas City and win a football game? Do I trust my quarterback to go into New England when Tom was playing there and win a football game? If you feel like that guy isn't good enough to go in there and battle, then you probably shouldn't go with that guy. And I feel the same way with this coaching search. Do I trust this guy year in and year out to be able to out-recruit Nick Saban, go into Bryant Denny, win football games, continue to make Texas A&M your little brother and beat them up every year? And obviously you're going to have to probably play Kirby in the SEC championship. Can you handle that? Can you do all those things? And if that's a question that you have no ifs, ands, or buts about, and you know that this guy can be the guy to do that year in and year out, then hey, then I would love to have him as the LSU football coach. But for Matt Campbell, I don't know if I could go there quite yet. So there's some other names out there that I would probably feel a little better about. But for Matt, I think if they do go that route, I think there'd be some people saying no first for LSU sends out that type of money took out like Matt Campbell.
In terms of wins and losses, he's been pretty good. At Toledo, after when he took over, 9-4, 7-5, 9-4, 9-2. And he takes over at Iowa State. The first team went 3-9 in transition year. Then he goes 8-5, 8-5, 7-6, 9-3. So consistency is certainly there. He gave an answer in a press conference last week that we talked about, and it's not even a bad thing because I think Saban thinks the same way. It just annoys me as like a normal human when they said, "Are you disappointed to fall short of your goal of winning the Big 12?" And his answer was, "That's not a goal in this program. Our goal is to be the best version of ourselves every day and be the most together team in in the history of college football." Goodness. It's like, okay, I get it. It's like it's our team creed. We got to be the best version of ourselves and nothing more. But it's okay to say you want to win the league. Like that's okay. I don't think you're gonna ruin everything if you say we'd like to win our conference.
Yeah.
But and that just kind of shows the kind of way he's wired, and it's very Saban-esque in that way.
Yeah, I mean, I can't really point to too many times where I've seen guys sign big extensions for being together or, having the best. But, hey, I think, like I told you last night, if you have some championships, people will back a lot of the, quirky things that you say and kind of unorthodox approach. Phil Jackson, putting the sage in the locker room and all that stuff. You win some championships, you can do what you want. And I don't think Campbell's there yet. So I think you got to win the Big 12, maybe get to a college football playoff. And then all these things that you believe in, it's a lot easier for guys to tie in and to follow you and really, let you be a leader.
Last Son of Odin says Campbell also doesn't like recruiting 5-stars. I have not seen a quote that indicates that. It wouldn't surprise me if someone who had been at Toledo and Iowa State made a comment like, hey, we don't want guys who are entitled coming in here and we want to get guys who – that's all well and dandy if you want to do that at Iowa State. If there was some kind of issue where we don't want to recruit the top players in the country, I'm thinking probably not a great fit to come here.
No, that is the last thing I want to hear when Kirby's just tripling down on his 5-stars every year. When Nick just, he never runs out of 5-star. Then you see what freaking Jimbo's doing at A&M now. You better get down there and recruit some 5-stars. So, no, I do not like hearing any bit of that. I don't care how maybe untrue it may be. Like, whatever coach comes out, bring 5-stars, please.
All right, so the question is, and this is obviously we live in hypothetical world now, do you think this is a realistic candidate for the LSU job?
If you say realistic means a guy that's possibly in the top 10, then yes. If you say it realistically as in a guy that's probably in the top 3 or top 5, I would say no.
I would tend to agree with that. Again, we don't know anything. I think what we made very clear yesterday in our conversations about this is that we have both put out some feelers and talk to some people that may have some information. And every time we do that, the well runs dry. And my indication that I said yesterday, and again, this is a total guess based on tea leaves, is that this thing is done. That's my guess. I believe that Scott Woodward has made a decision. Again, I want to be very clear. I do work for LSU. I have phone numbers of people over there at LSU. I don't know anything. No one has told me anything. But the fact that no one knows anything or nothing's being ruffled, that tells me to guess that it's done.
Yeah, I would agree too, because a guy out there that I thought would possibly have an offer, I don't think he has an offer. I'm not going to go out there and say it on the air right now, but there's some, let's say there's some coaches out there that people feel really good about and they don't have offers. So, I mean, that could be one of two things to me. I like I said at the game, my boy Scott, man, got a little jump in his step now, man. I don't know.
I got a couple of phone calls about that yesterday when you said that. I was like, look, I don't think he's lying on the air. I also don't think he winked at him and said, no, he just seemed like he had a nice disposition about him on Saturday.
Yes, that's all I'm going to say. Look, Scott was he was feeling good, man. I don't know if he had a beer or two or not, but look, man, Scott was feeling good, man. He had a little hop in his step at the game. That lets me know. And look, we got a 5-6 football team right now. There's not much to be cheery about. That's all I'm saying.
That's Scott Woodward's next hire. Previous one, Jay Johnson. He's going to join us at the top of the hour talking about his team that just finished up fall ball last week. And so come back with us for the second hour on a Tuesday. It's Hunt and Hill.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further. Like vans customized for work or play. With safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Tonight, we invite you to celebrate life, wherever and whenever you can. Understanding that time is never on our side. Instead, gather up your friends tonight and share a few stories and laughs over a good bottle of wine. Or maybe a family meal that gives everyone a chance to reconnect and remember what's really important, whether it's for a birthday, an anniversary, or simply to remind someone special that they are loved. Ruffino's, where Louisiana comes to celebrate life.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
By Spencer Callahan Injury Lawyers.
1, 2, 3.
Hunt and Hill. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, holding down the middle of the day. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio, it's Hunt and Hill. Now on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Out in the open field here on a Tuesday, short week with Thanksgiving coming up on a Thursday. Our pleasure now to be joined by LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson. Tigers just finished up his first fall in Baton Rouge with the Purple and Gold World Series over the weekend. Coach, appreciate some time. How are you?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Absolutely. It is our pleasure. Got a lot of questions I want to get to, but first of all, kind of as a general question to you, your first fall here in Baton Rouge, you've got a bloated roster because of the COVID rules and all the kind of things that have created that situation. What was your first fall like?
Yeah, it was great. I think what made it great is the players and the buy-in to maybe a different or a new way of doing things. And I thought we got some traction and gained a lot of ground as far as some development things for some of them, and really feel good about where we're heading into Christmas break here. And they'll have a good plan of what they need to do for the next month to 45 days to be ready when we turn the corner and get back. So if they do a good job with that, then I like where we're at heading into the spring.
I opened things up for some questions on Twitter from some listeners, and overwhelmingly the response was, is that Jacob Berry okay? So I'll lead with that. Jacob Berry obviously missed a little bit of time there at the end. Is Jacob Berry okay?
Yes, he is fine. He will be ready to roll come opening day.
Good. All right, let's talk about a couple spots on the diamond. I want to talk about catcher. You've got a lot of depth there. You've got a returner in Alex Milazzo. You brought in a couple of new players as well. What do you make of the competition there behind the plate?
I think it's been great. I think, Sparky Anderson, the old manager, said something a long time ago that stuck with me. If you have a bad catcher, you have a bad team. And when I got here and looking at the roster, Alex Milazzo is one of the best defensive catchers in the country, in my opinion. Didn't really have a great year offensively, but I think he's done a good job with what we've put in front of him for improvement. And I think you'll see, and if you've been out in the fall, I'm sure you've seen a much improved hitter. And so that's great for our team. Bringing Tyler McManus in from Samford has had a great year offensively every year he's been in college baseball. Did 11 or 12 home runs last year at Samford, and we asked him to kind of make a significant swing change when he got here to handle a better level or higher level pitching that he's going to see in the SEC, and he did it immediately, and the results were pretty awesome. Had 9 home runs throughout the course of the fall and was on base all the time and did a good job moving the offense. So I think those two guys are well positioned to kind of battle for that spot, but they're both going to play a lot, and hopefully we can get Hayden Travinsky healthy. He missed the fall with a couple of injuries and has a good ETA for returning by the time the season starts, but we'll have to see where he gets to at that time.
How has NIL affected recruiting, especially some of the guys who are going to get a nice chunk of change to play in the minor leagues? How would you say NIL has affected that?
I think it remains to be seen. I think it's a super positive thing. We've had some players be able to take advantage of that in a big way, which is awesome. And I'm all for more money around college baseball. And if this was the way to get it, then I think that's awesome. And I think LSU is one of the few places in the country that our players are going to really be able to capitalize on that. I think it's one of the few places where college baseball is not a channel changer, but a thing. And so hopefully we can continue to tap into that. And I'm happy to see our players having some success with it.
Coach Will Wade and the Tigers basketball are looking pretty good. Do you intend on using the Maravich Center as a place to host some baseball recruits?
Hey, let's go. I tell you what, if our pitching staff is holding people down like that defense, we're going to be in great shape.
Well, let's talk about that pitching staff a little bit. I struggled with how to phrase this question because it can be long-winded, but it's in terms of structuring your staff with 3 weekend starters or the guy that's the closer, or this guy's going to be long relief. How do you go about, you and Coach Kelly, putting together a plan to determine what roles guys are going to have moving forward after you've looked at them for a fall?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's one that we don't have to answer today because so much of where these guys are going to be 50 or 60 or 75 days from now is going to be dependent on the work that they put in. They all have a laid out, very detailed plan of what we want them to do. I am very confident in the pieces that we have, and if you ask me who won the fall, whether it was the pitching staff or the hitters, I would tell you it was the pitching staff, which that is, we'd way rather have it that way because I know the talent and the caliber of position players that we have. But I think what you're going to see is our strength will be in numbers in terms of the number of guys that can make a positive contribution, and our strength will be in our staff's ability to throw strikes and to be highly competitive with multiple pitches. And I am not afraid to use as many of them as we need to get to 27 outs on a night or 81 on a weekend. And I'm looking forward to putting it together. I think there's several guys that have done a good job, and there's several guys that can contribute to us winning. So we have another phase before we kind of get to pinning down who's where, but you might see it done a little differently than maybe in the past.
So I don't mean to single guys out, but I will because we have the opportunity to do so. I know there are a lot of arms that you've looked at, but one of the guys that I saw a couple times that really impressed me, it was Cale Lansville. Can you speak to kind of what you saw from him in the fall?
Absolutely. I think Cale was a good recruit. When I took the job, I was obviously familiar that he had signed at LSU, and we went and worked on building a relationship there. The first thing we had to do is make sure he didn't sign a pro contract in the draft, and was very happy that he didn't. I think what you see when you see Cale pitch is a high level of pitchability. He has been schooled very well prior to getting to LSU. He throws all 3 pitches for strikes. He's a really good competitor. And if you don't have balance, if you don't have the ability to see the ball and recognize pitches, he's going to create a lot of problems for you because he can disrupt timing. And I think he's on the higher end of pitchability on our staff, and I'm glad we're going to have him for the next few years.
One of the first conversations you had when taking the job was with Devin Fontenot. Every time I went out there, he was the first pitcher out there and was throwing extended innings, usually 3 innings. What kind of role do you see him working into this year?
Yeah, he's going to be important in winning, and we did talk about, giving him an opportunity to start, and I think what I needed to see was 2 things. I needed to see the ability to get left and right-handed hitters out. So regardless of how somebody stacks a lineup, can he be effective? He certainly proved that. And then just the conditioning level, it's different to where your mind can't break down when your body gets tired, and you have to have a way to get through the order 2 and 3 times. And I think he's shown that to me. And if, we were starting out today, I do think he would be in that mix to be a starter. I think the only thing that I'll have to work past is I always want to have one of our best guys at the end of the game to secure wins when they're there to get. And so he's obviously done that and has some experience in doing that. So it's probably just going to be juggling with what's best for our team, but I saw what I needed to see to push forward with giving him an opportunity to start.
LSU head baseball coach Jay Johnson, our guest. A couple more, Coach. We appreciate your time so much. Number one, Dylan Cruz playing a lot of center field later in the fall, I noticed. Is that a possibility for him in defensively?
Yeah, for sure. I think a couple of things give us some advantages if we can do that. It opens up some matchups for the rest of the offense. I think left and right are fairly easy to play in this ballpark, being that it's not very big, and we actually have one of the bigger ballparks in the SEC. So it gives us a little flexibility with matching up if Dylan can stay in center. But you may see us do some other stuff as well that might get a couple different guys in the lineup, and he's obviously going to be a huge piece of it, whether it's center field, right field, or left field. But I wanted to get him some experience out there, and I thought he did a really good job. He ran down several balls in the left center gap and does a good job going left and right. And I think he demonstrated to me that he can definitely do it, and that's a real positive for our team.
I only saw about 20% of the scrimmages, but every time I went out there, Cade Doty hit missiles all over the field. Did anyone get him out in the fall?
Well, I have this metric system that I use to basically tell you who your most productive offensive player is. And for our fall baseball, he was number one and a pretty clear number one. And I love everything about Cade. I think he's a talented guy, can probably play anywhere on the field, really good hitter, really coachable, but he's super competitive too. Like his motor runs really hot, and I'm really excited about him. I think he's the player on our team that not enough people talk about in terms of being at the top. And right now he's 1A, 1B, or 1C in terms of our top players on this team, and really happy to have him here in my first year.
Last thing, anything that you're still very concerned about after fall that maybe isn't where you want it?
Well, I'm always going to have something that I think we need to get better at. And I think I'm most pleased with, we made some large strides in mindset where I think some of the team needed to grow up from last year and handling success better and handling failure better for sure. And that's part of learning. Like, you only get that with experience. So that will be tested some more when we get into the time where it really counts. That'll be tested when you write out a lineup one day and somebody that thinks they should be in there shouldn't. But you can't really build chemistry and maturity until you have to deal with both real success and real failure. So you can't rush those things. I'm just excited to see how we develop and how we mature as a team in that regard. And I think when we do, I think you'll start to see the talent of some of these guys come to the surface more consistently, and that'll get us the improvement we all want. And then from there, I'm very comfortable with where the results land. So just really excited to get going more than concerned about anything.
We can't wait for February, Coach. Thanks so much for your time.
All right, guys. Have a good afternoon.
You too. That was Jay Johnson, LSU head baseball coach. One fall in the books. He's going to have probably some difficult decisions and conversations here coming up. Because of COVID and because of the fact that so many people had extra years and hung around and are still here, he's got more players than they can keep entering the season. And so some people that have been through the fall are not going to be here moving forward. Everyone knew it. It's not a surprise to anybody. That's the way it goes because of the numbers and the rules. But that's what his next step is to figure out what team he brings moving forward. And that's obviously got to be some tough conversations you're going to have.
Yeah, that's tough, man. You would think, man, for a LSU baseball program that produces the amount of money that we do, I mean, I guess it's an NCAA rule.
Yeah,
but
it's
you
just
would think
numbers thing.
you would think that you would be able to keep all these guys, but obviously that's not the case. And then when you have the talent that we have, it's going to be some good players that you probably have to let go and that you probably could have got some production from. But, man, the good part about that is you're cutting good players for possibly great players. And I think you trust Jay Johnson to figure out that rotation and figure out what guys can really help this team and really trust the metrics and some of the advanced analytics that they're using. So, man, I trust Coach Jay. He knows what he's doing, and I'm excited to see how he trusts those Tigers out this season.
Based on what he said entering the fall and what he answered my pitching staff question there at the end of fall, we're all used to a college baseball team having a Friday night starter, a Saturday night starter, and a Sunday starter, and a closer. And then you build the pitching staff from within there, mix and matches with roles. I don't think they're going to have that right out of the gate. They don't have proven guys who have started at SEC games. Hilliard's really the only one. So they're gonna mix and match that thing, I think, and try to just get outs every way they can. And I don't know that it's necessarily the way he would want to do it, but that's what the roster has. There's a ton of really talented guys. I mean, I went out there on Saturday this week, I think it was. Maybe it was Sunday. It was Saturday. And no, it was Sunday. And Grant Taylor was pitching. I'll be quite frank, I'd never heard of Grant Taylor. I looked him up. He was throwing 96 miles an hour with a pretty good off-speed pitch. Like, there's some guys over there that have real ability, just none of them have gone out there on Friday in the SEC and dueled with Vanderbilt. Like, we just don't have that guy. So it's going to be curious to see how he shakes that thing out. But a lot of talent, and the offense is going to be an absolute freight train once they get everybody rolling. And as he said in the interview, Jacob Berry is okay. If you missed any part of that interview, jumped in late, that was Jay Johnson. You can catch it on demand, 1045 ESPN.com or on the YouTube channel. Come back, talk a little bit. What are we doing next? Let me look at the rundown. I'm not even sure what we have coming up next. I'm going to talk a little bit about the College Football Playoff Selection Committee. We'll have Pete Futek from College Football News coming on in about 15 minutes. Stay with us. It's Hunt and Hill.
Serving up the latest from the sports world. It's Hunt and Hill.
Sports betting is coming to Louisiana. There's no better spot to get in on the action than the FanDuel Sportsbook. To celebrate, FanDuel is giving you $100 in free site credit when you register early. Put in the promo code 1045ESPN, 1045ESPN. You get a free site credit of $100. Can't cash that $100 out. You got to bet it. But they give you great live betting options. They give you odds boosts. They give you great specials on the weekends. And the app is so easy to use. They're always hooking you up with great offers, great deals. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Register now to get $100 in free site credit with the promo code 1045ESPN. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. The bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer ends on the go-live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
We opened up the playbook and expanded our coverage. Listen daily in high definition on 98.1 HD2. We are 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule.
Join us for a Tuesday edition of Early Line as we take an early look at this weekend's action. Plus, Rafael Esparza of DocSports.com joins the show from Las Vegas. Join us from 2 to 3 p.m. right here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
There's going to be some significant movement in the CFP tonight. Still, everything's going to work itself out, but some significant movement because some teams did lose over the weekend. Georgia's still going to be number one. Do you think Ohio State jumps Alabama for the second spot? I do.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Look, Alabama was getting all the love, all the benefit of the doubt, everything. You give up 35 at home to Arkansas, and the country just saw what CJ Stroud and Ohio State just did. I think Ohio State definitely is the number 2 team in the new college football playoff.
And I think Alabama goes to 3. Oregon obviously lost. They were number 3. They'll fall out. Now, if that means 5 and 6 that would be on the precipice of moving up are Cincinnati and Michigan. Who do you think gets the 4th spot?
Michigan, khaki pants, baby, khaki pants. Look, man, I know we are, kind of, had our eyes on Michigan, kind of wondering, are they the real deal? Man, their defense, if anything I know about that Michigan team this year, their defense is the real deal. They get stops, they turn you over. So I definitely see Michigan being the number 4 team.
It doesn't matter to Cincinnati because as long as Ohio State takes care of Michigan, they fall out the back. And then the closest team, because Michigan State will be falling back, Notre Dame will be right behind them. Do we think that the playoff committee is going to take that game as gospel, the head-to-head between Cincinnati and Notre Dame?
I mean, they're almost going to have to, because where's Notre Dame's other signature win? Like, where can you point to say, man, Notre Dame beat Wisconsin? Like, we're going to hold Notre Dame to probably the 4th or 5th best team in the country for beating Wisconsin. So, I don't know. I think for Notre Dame, it's tough, but I guess they're gonna. I mean, it's looking like it, man. It's really looking like. I think that the best chance is like I've always believed and always said. There's no way a 1-loss Oklahoma does not get in. If Oklahoma wins out, I think they get that 4th spot.
That would be fascinating. The Notre Dame Cincinnati thing, I wrestled with this. I didn't have a slam dunk feeling on it, and I looked at it, and the conclusion that I arrived on is that I would take the head-to-head as gospel. I think we played the game. You had and it was on your home field, Notre Dame, and you lost. So I would take that as gospel when I'm talking about these two teams. If the resumes were so different, if this was okay, somebody I hate, Texas A&M. And Texas A&M went on the road to Tuscaloosa and won, beat LSU at home, went on the road to Jordan-Hare, won, beat Arkansas and Jerry World, and they were piling them up, and they lost to Cincinnati, and Cincinnati went undefeated, and Texas A&M had 1 loss. That's just a hypothetical. I would not feel that way. But because Notre Dame's resume doesn't jump, and like you said, it's a bunch of teams that have been good a year here or there. They went to Virginia Tech and won. They beat USC. They beat North Carolina. Like, they're going to Stanford on Saturday. Like, in a bygone era, some of these wins could have been decent. They're not this year. And you had Cincinnati on your home field, and you lost by 11. So I can't summon the resume for Notre Dame to get them over. So that was my next question, and you just went to it automatically. You think Oklahoma, from the 13 spot, is going to be able to get in with 1 loss?
100%, because their win
100%.
100%, because look, every time Oklahoma's gotten in, they've gotten in with 1 loss and winning their conference. What has changed this year? They're going to have a win over a team that's like we were looking for Notre Dame to have their win. Look, Oklahoma State's right there, top 10 team, right there in the college football playoff hunt. They go beat that Oklahoma State team. They go win their conference. They're going to be in it. I don't have any doubts about it.
What about Wake?
No way. No way.
Well, all they have to do is beat Boston College, and they're in. They're into the ACC championship game.
They have 2 losses though, I think, right?
Right, they do have 2 losses.
So no.
All right,
not with 2 losses.
I'm just because what we're talking about here is conference championship games mattering, and the selection committee always peppers us with the line, a conference championship is a big deal, and you don't have that until the end. So that to me, what that is a little getting your foot wedged in the door so you've got wiggle room, so you can plant that seed and say, yeah. Even if a team's ranked ahead and they still win, but it's not a conference championship, and somebody comes from the back and wins a conference championship, oh, well, now they have the conference championship. They didn't have that last week. Now they have the conference championship. We can move them up. It wasn't a win or loss. It's just the fact that you've got that conference championship. So it's fascinating, but it's I'm
Look, I was just poking hole at Georgia's resume. Look, they're number 1 team. I know I'm respecting this, but I gotta play devil's advocate now and then. But do you think is there any way in the world Georgia does not win their conference with the one loss, and you can look to their schedule and see that there's not a ranked team left on there on the list. Maybe when they played them at the time, but you go back and look like, man, Tennessee isn't really that great. You know, you start looking around, they're still getting in. So the conference championships, we know Georgia's in.
No, if Alabama beats Georgia, and assuming Georgia beats the Ramblin' Wreck of Georgia Tech, who lost 55-0 on Saturday, assuming Georgia takes care of them, they're in no matter what happens in the SEC championship game against Alabama. The question is if Alabama can win that game, then they're in, and now you've shuffled everything around. So tonight, I think I'm with you. I think it's Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama, then Michigan. And then I think Cincinnati is just on the outside there with Notre Dame. That's basically the way we see it.
Yeah, I agree. I think, that's probably it. And I think maybe Oklahoma State could creep up there a little higher, but I think that's probably right where we had it.
We will see tonight. We'll take a timeout now so we can get to Pete Futek a couple of minutes early. He's got to run. So let's take a timeout. Pete Futek, College Football News, will join us when we come back on Hunt and Hill.
Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill, Hunt and Hill. In times of need, get a full list of phone numbers, websites, and other important emergency information on the Demco Stormwatch page at 1045ESPN.com.
Our topic today is about savings. What is savings?
Hancock Whitney isn't just a bank for our clients. We're investing in our hometowns, making life better for everyone. So keep dreaming. We've got your back.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines, fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Bayou Ford has 0% for 60 months on new Ford F-150s. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million-mile powertrain warranty. And now 0% for 60 months on Ford F-150.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona inviting you to join us for Tuesday's AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. We'll tell you what reporter has the new list of finalists for the LSU coaching job. We'll recap LSU, Belmont, and hoops. Join us for Tuesday's AFR, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Some promos are better than others. That was solid work by Mr. Moscona.
Look, man. Look, I don't know who's topping each other up, man. T-Bob or Moscona. They're going back and forth.
Bringing the heat.
Some great intros.
Welcome in, Pete Futek from College Football News. Talk a little bit of college football. Pete, how are you?
What's going on, guys? How you been?
There's a lot going on. We got trying to figure out who the coach is going to be, and everybody's got their list, and I don't think any of them are right.
Well, it doesn't matter because he's going to get fired in 3 years anyway. So, but you actually need to start your coaching search for 2026 is probably what you need to do.
All right, so what's the genesis of that remark? Just because is this a deal with Mullen?
Everybody, like, this is insane. Like, look, I get Ed Orgeron, but look, Dan Mullen was like 26-5 or something last year at this time in Florida. He had 2 top 7 finishes, and then you had that weird loss to LSU in that crazy shootout game in the fog, and then they took Alabama as close as anybody did all year in that epic SEC championship game. Everybody left, and they get rocked in the bowl game. And this is a rebuilding year. They lose to South Carolina, and now he can't coach and is fired. So, all right, I mean, boo-hoo. He's a multi-millionaire a dozen times over. So who cares? But, it's insane how fast this all goes.
It is. It's crazy. So what's next for Florida?
You got me. I mean, I don't know why coaches want these gigs. I just don't. I get that they want the big payday and you want the multi-millions of dollars, but you can make money at Washington. You not have to necessarily deal with total crazy. I mean, it's so you go to Florida, you go to LSU, and I get it. I get that you want to test yourself in the high end and the pressure, and those are A-list gigs and everything. But you can't go 10-2. You can't have a 3-game losing streak ever, or else people want to fire you. I mean, look, people are talking about getting rid of Sarkisian at Texas, and that is a total gut job that had to be completely rebuilt. And he's recruiting like a madman, and it's going to take 3 years. So, the whole recruit. And meanwhile, then anytime a coach wins a game, he gets a contract extension. Mel Tucker is going to get a $75 million extension. He hasn't won anything. His team's not that great. It's the whole coaching thing is absolutely just bat spit crazy.
It is that. So if you, I guess, if you were Scott Woodward, 2 different questions here. If you were Scott Woodward, who would you hire at LSU?
I would try to find someone who gives me kind of a schematic advantage, because the whole idea of going through a retread, like a Hugh Freeze-ish type, or a guy just because he has been in the SEC, or that doesn't fly. Because look, Dan Mullen was in the SEC and he won at Mississippi State, fired. It doesn't matter. You got to find some differentiating factor, because the harsh, brutal reality is Alabama's not stopping, at least for now. So, the whole idea behind Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M was eventually Alabama was going to stop and someone had to fill the void, and Alabama's not stopping, and Texas A&M's not filling the void. So now no one's happy with that. So, if you're LSU, who are you going to get that is going to give you that thing that could possibly be a difference maker? Look, Mississippi State's not going to win anything, but they figured, the Mike Leach system is working. Tennessee with Josh Heupel, you can see that down the line, that offense is going to be a thing. So, who are you going to get who's going to come in with the expectations of you either win the national championship or you will be fired in 3 years? That's a long-winded way of saying, I don't know. You already put out the idea of Dabo, and you're not getting him. You're not getting Jimbo Fisher. You're not getting James Franklin. So who's going to be acceptable to the fan base? I don't know.
So who do you think they'll hire?
I would be shocked if they didn't go Dave Aranda. That's the guy who makes sense. He succeeded at Baylor in a tough situation, especially last year was a complete rebuild, and 2020 was 2020. And without a whole ton of talent, he's been able to get that thing up and going again after canning a bunch of his assistants. Obviously, a brilliant defensive coach, obvious ties to the program, should be acceptable to the base. And then the next coaching up gig, that would probably be a good get. And this level, but the problem again is if you're thinking, and every big time fan base thinks that they can get anybody, and it just doesn't work out. So once you've already put out the idea of going after the A-lister of A-lister, does Dave Aranda do it? I don't know, but to me, he'd be a great idea and a great get. Obviously, Billy Napier is a good call. He's probably going to be on every other list. If Arizona State flounders against Arizona somehow, that would be the gig that would be right for him since he's a former offensive coordinator there. But he's going to be definitely up for a next big gig, but that is a big jump to go from Louisiana to LSU. So it really just depends on, who's going to be out there and where how this carousel keeps going, because very, very soon, a lot of these big name guys are going to go elsewhere.
All right, enough coaching search. So let's go a little playoff here. Is it looking like the Bearcats are going to walk their ways right into the college football playoff this year?
Until they prove otherwise, I'm still going to go with the idea that the precedent set by the College Football Playoff Committee that if you go 12-1 and win your Power 5 conference championship, you are going to get in the college football playoff. And look, it was a 12-1 Ohio State of 2018 was the only time a team that did not get in, but they also got destroyed by Purdue, and there were 4 other obvious teams that had to get in. So that was it. I don't know if a 12-1 Oklahoma State, I think, probably gets in over Cincinnati. A 12-1 Oklahoma, I think, probably gets in over Cincinnati. So until the College Football Playoff Committee does something different to go away from the way that they've rolled since 2014, I'm going to keep believing that the Big 12 is the big problem for Cincinnati. The other part of this thing too, the fun theoretical debate is let's see if Alabama, if they lose to Georgia close, and it comes down to a 2-loss Alabama, who everybody knows is one of the 4 best teams in college football, or a 13-0 Cincinnati that hasn't beaten anybody other than Notre Dame. Who do you go with? I mean, I think that's going to be a wacky debate that everyone's going to want to get into. And then there's the idea that Cincinnati's just going to blow it because they weren't going to lose to SMU because SMU's bad. They could lose to East Carolina this week. That is a dangerous game, and they could certainly lose to Houston in the American Athletic Conference Championship.
If a 2-loss Alabama gets in, I'm going to have a very unhappy wife because I'm going to vomit on my coffee table if that happens. I will be so upset if that happens. Pete Futek, our guest from College Football News. Pete, where do you see is Ohio State a real threat to Georgia? I mean, I think that's an obvious question, but they seem to have figured it out.
At least they've got guys. So start with the idea that to beat a Georgia or to be, and again, this goes back to does Alabama deserve to be in with 2 losses? No. Is it one of the 4 best teams? Yes. But do you have the players who can hang? Do you have the NFL athletes? And certainly Ohio State's got that. They've got an NFL receiving core. They got an NFL running back. DJ Stroud has gotten better and better. I mean, you could see it early in the season where he was really good, but all he needed were a few more at-bats. He just, there are a few different reads, a few little misses, and now that he's had time in, he's finding everything. It also helps that they went against the actual worst pass defense in college football in Michigan State last week. So we'll see a little bit against Michigan, and we'll definitely see if it's Wisconsin in the Big Ten Championship, what they can do against that D. But it's good. I think Georgia is absolutely gettable. As long as Stetson Bennett is still the starting quarterback for Georgia, they're gettable. There's a 3-interception game coming here somewhere. It just depends on if it's in the SEC championship or in the college football playoff.
So is it the final year? I know Michigan fans have been waiting a long time. Is this finally Tom Khaki Pants finally gets to the college football playoff?
I don't think he does that. They could get to the Rose Bowl, but here's the thing. I'm a Jim Harbaugh apologist for the exact reasons for the first few minutes that we talked about. It is so hard to consistently win, and you just see like all these coaches are getting canned, and all these it's crazy. Go right down the line: LSU, Texas, USC, the Florida State loser. I mean, big program after big program isn't even going bowling, much less being in the college football playoff mix. And everyone's complaining about Harbaugh can't beat Ohio State, which is just obviously amazing. So at worst, they probably go to the Rose Bowl. Not a bad consolation prize, depending on how this all shakes out. But I don't think he gets them. Ohio State's just too good. Michigan's okay. I don't think they get annihilated. I certainly don't think we're getting Michigan State. But I think Ohio State is just that good. I mean, they just have better guys.
Pete Futek, College Football News. We appreciate some time. Have a happy Thanksgiving. We'll catch up down the road.
Anytime, guys. Good luck with that coaching search.
Thanks so much. Pete Futek, College Football News. I can't live in a world where 2 loss Alabama gets in. I don't. Please don't make me do that.
Look, we already lived in a world where 1 loss with no playoff, they just get a national championship bid. Just you lost a team that's already playing in, but hey, we'll just throw you guys back in there. We've seen that, so I guess this wouldn't be too far off for the committee to just throw them back in there. I mean, would you rather have non-Power 5 trot in there, or Alabama that's probably going to get?
The point is, if they do that, you're essentially saying, yeah, we don't really care what happens. We just know that they have a lot of pros. So at that point, like, you just throw the regular season out and you just give me Ohio State, give me Alabama, give me Georgia, and usually give me Clemson, and we'll just go play. We don't care if you win or lose any of the games in September or October, November. Just we know that those have the best teams. So, and at some point, you gotta hop to and go, oh, well, they went on the road and lost to Texas A&M, who's not all that great, and then they got beat by Georgia in the SEC championship game. They had their opportunities, they didn't get it. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to favor a 1-loss power conference champ if they can get that from the Big 12. Obviously, they're going to get that in the Big 10, very likely. So, I just hope not. But look, if Alabama played Cincinnati, they'd beat the brakes off them. I'm confident in saying that. Do I know it? No, because you can't know. But I feel very confident in that. But fact of the matter is, you play in power conference, lose 2 games, probably not going to get it.
Yeah, it is. It's just a rough. I mean, that's why these games are so important, and that's why it is. That's why we tune in so much. And it's not like the NFL where you can have a losing record and make it into the playoffs. These games mean something. You got to go out there and win, and that's why you see these coaching carousels going the way they have, because these schools are eager to get into these playoffs, eager to win championships, eager to win their conferences. And when that doesn't happen, things go awry very quickly. So yeah, I would be in that camp as well. If Alabama with 2 losses gets in, man, I don't know how I'm going to be feeling that day.
We shall see. One more segment, closing out Hunt and Hill.
This is Hunt and Hill on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
FanDuel Sportsbook coming to Louisiana. Not live yet, so you've got an opportunity to download the FanDuel Sportsbook, create an account, put in the promo code 1045ESPN, 1045ESPN, $100 in free site credits. You can bet on anything, NFL, NBA, college football. Double that, $100 free. They got great odd boost, got great super boosts on the weekends for your parlays. You can live bet during a game. You're sitting at home on the couch watching the game, see something you like, you can live bet it right there on the FanDuel Sportsbook app. See for yourself why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app, register now, use the promo code 1045ESPN, and get that $100 in free site credit. You must be 21 and present in Louisiana. Bonus is issued on a non-withdrawable site credit that expires 7 days after FanDuel accepts its first real money sports wager in Louisiana. Unique user identity verification is required. The offer extends on the go live date. Restrictions do apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-877-770-STOP.
Our listeners fire up their opinions on the jimsfirearms.net hotline at 499-1045. Keep listening for your next chance to shoot us your thoughts with the jimsfirearms.net hotline on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I had to leave my parents. I had to move schools. Everything keeps changing. I'm sure glad you're here.
There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back, North Airway off of Airline Highway.
It's the Monday evening edition of Game Time presented by Bet Rivers. We're live at Rouge Creole in Perkins Row, recapping all of the college and NFL action from the weekend on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Hunt and Hill, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
I feel like I need to go home and take a shower. I'm sitting here pulling for Texas A&M's basketball teams. The worst time of the year in college basketball. I have to pull for these SEC teams to help my conference RPI, to help my tournament seeding. I don't want to pull for A&M ever, and now they're playing Butler in the Maui/Las Vegas Invitational, and I have to pull for them. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah, what a tournament, the Maui Invitational in Vegas.
From Vegas.
That's a new one. But hey, if A&M helps our RPI, man, you guys got to go get that thing done.
Yeah, this is just, they're just not very good. They beat Abilene Christian by 1 earlier this year, 81-80. Wisconsin beat them pretty good yesterday. They only scored 58 points in that game. Now they're playing Butler. Buzz Williams has done a nice job at 2 different stops, but he hasn't quite gotten this thing moving the way that I think they probably thought when Scott Woodward made that hire down in College Station. I think they're one of the bottom feeders of the SEC in my estimation.
Yeah, they definitely could be. And watching our team play defense, if you're struggling to score on Abilene Christian and some of these other schools, you're going to have a long day with the Tigers. I am not expecting. If they can find a way to win this game and maybe win a couple more, and then look, the Tigers will have you right in our sights, right where we want you.
The game in college basketball's non-conference, probably. I mean, I guess you could point to Duke and Kentucky, which was a really good one, but I think the best one of the entire slate is Gonzaga and UCLA. They're technically right now ranked 1 and 2 in the country, both schools coming off of a Final Four. Gonzaga's a 7-point favorite out in Vegas tonight. What do you like in that one?
Man, I like my big man Chet, man. Something about these big men, man. They get me going. I like Chet Holmgren, the freshman, the All-American freshman, the Wooden Award finalist already before he even picked up a ball and played a minute. But, man, that kid's a real deal. He may look like a long stick out there, but he can shoot the ball. He can put it on the floor. He can protect the rim, and he's going to be helping Gonzaga a ton. So I'll be tuning in to my boy Chet tonight.
That's a switch that's been made in like the last 5 years. Gonzaga was always a really good team. Then he started swimming in the recruiting waters with everybody else, and he started to get some of those guys. And I guess the sale is good. We develop you. We'll turn you into a good player, and you're guaranteed to win your league and get into the tournament. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But everyone does totally forget about Gonzaga between New Year's Day and the first game of the tournament. They do a great job of scheduling out of conference. This year, Gonzaga is playing Texas. They're playing UCLA. They're playing Duke. They're playing Alabama. Like, they are going out of conference. They're playing Texas Tech, Washington. That's a tremendous non-conference schedule. But then you go into hiding when you go into conference play and nobody watches you for 2 months, which kind of sucks. But then you resurface in March and you show up.
Yeah, that's what happened when you're on the West Coast. And, a lot of the media just happens to be on the East Coast, a little bit in the Central Time Zone as well when you throw in Chicago and some of these other places. So a lot of people don't get to watch much Gonzaga basketball, especially until tournament time. They'll check them out then. But a lot of these games are in the beginning and fairly on early in the season. Just don't get many opportunities to watch them. But, man, they've been putting out a ton of good basketball teams year in and year out, and it's going to be on full display again this year. They're stacked. It's a loaded Gonzaga roster.
I will be watching that game tonight at Pluckers on Nicholson. 8:30 is the start time for trivia. I already got trivia guys texting and DM me on Twitter talking trash about other teams for tonight. If you want to get in, watch some awesome college basketball, have something great to eat, something cold to drink, playing sports trivia, 8:30 at Pluckers on Nicholson. Come on out. We would love to have you. All right, Jeremy, let's do some take it or leave it.
All right, let's do it. All right. Pro Football Hall of Famer Michael Strahan, he's set to go out of space on the new Shepard rocket that's leaving on December 9th, I should say. Are you taking or leaving? It's a good idea to take a trip to space.
I'm leaving that. There's no golf up there. Are we drinking cocktails up there? Can you do that? Like, I have no interest in going up to space. I'm totally out on going to space. It seems hard. It seems uncomfortable. It seems dangerous. I have no interest.
Same here, man. Like, what are we doing? You're going to space for 5 minutes to go down. To me, it seems like the juice is way more worse than squeezing that. What, you're up there for 5 minutes, so you get a look at the ganders up there, and you come back down. Too much going on for me.
I'd rather take a nap.
Yeah, that's too much.
I got no use in going to space. Saints agree with Taysom Hill. New contract extension could be up to $96 million, depending on if he's the quarterback or not the quarterback. Taking or leaving it is a good move for the Saints.
I think I'll take it. It's a great move for the Saints. I don't know how good it is for Taysom. I mean, they're in full control here. Sean can, line them up at tight end for the whole season and say, look, good luck with that quarterback money. So for the Saints, I think it's a great move. I think they did this to obviously do what the Saints always do, move some money around, be a little more flexible. And so, yes, I would definitely agree that is a great move for the Saints.
The Taysom thing, I could just leave it. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
and then they've had these chances for 2-point conversions the last couple of weeks, and he's not even on the field, which it feels like that would be like the spot to use him. I realize we've had some concussion issues, injury stuff, in and out. We're thin on quarterbacks. But if you've got him, use him.
Yeah, most definitely. All right. Glenn Gilbo, you're going to like this one of the Outkick. He says the LSU coaching search is down to only 3 candidates. Those 3 candidates, Dave Aranda, Matt Campbell, and Billy Napier. Are you taking or leaving? The coaching search is down to those 3 candidates.
I'm going to leave it as those are the only 3 names, and he's down to a list of 3. He may have a list of 5. He may have a list of 1. I'm going to leave the fact that there are only 3 names, and Glenn's the one that got it. Look, they've got all those guys that report. They got a job to do. They got to create content. They got to talk to their sources, and I hadn't talked to Glenn in months, and I don't know who his sources are, but this has been pretty quiet coaching search, and everybody I've talked to has no idea. So if Glenn's the one that cracked the code, good for him. And it gave us a segment today to talk about Matt Campbell, who I don't know that I think is really in the mix for the job. But look, I'm all for it. Give me some content, Glenn. Way to go. Baker Mayfield says he doesn't really care about the fans booing him at home after an 8.6 QBR versus the winless Detroit Lions. Taking a leave, and Baker doesn't care about the Boo Birds raining down in Cleveland.
I'll leave that, man. Look, Baker's a passionate kid. He feeds off the crowd's energy. I think he cares about it. Obviously, when you're not playing well, dealing with the injury he has, it's the only answer you could probably say. But no, I would definitely have to disagree with that one, Baker. I know you're a fan, loving boy, and you love jumping into that dog pound. So man, look, Baker got to turn this thing around. They're still in my contender. So look, Baker, turn this thing around, keep getting these wins, and I won't take you guys off. So last one here, LSU Tigers basketball. They're out to a 5-0 start after routing Belmont at home 83-53. Are you taking or leaving? It's time to put the Tigers in contention to win the SEC.
I'll take it. I mean, sure, they may not win it, but I think they have a competent team that can compete in the SEC. And maybe win it. I think we're a long way from that. I think they got a long way to go, but I think that you're seeing some things early that are very, very encouraging. And beating the doors off everybody you play is exactly what a really good team would do. So there's reason to be optimistic. I'm excited for the game on Friday over in Destin against Penn State. It's going to be a 6 o'clock tip-off our time. It'll be on CBS Sports Network, so you'll see them on Friday. And then on Saturday, we'll see who comes out of the other side in that tournament. But chance for LSU to play a couple of Power 5 teams, and we'll see if they can hold their weight in that one. I think it's possible that Belmont's better than Penn State, so we'll see. I don't think LSU will necessarily play as well, but I think they could be better.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, I haven't seen much Penn State basketball this year. I'll get to see it this week on Friday, I would say. But, yeah, from Belmont's history, they definitely won a lot more games over the years, but we'll see Friday.
Are we out here? We got a minute left, Casey. 1 more minute. Okay. That's kind of what I thought. So, yeah, this tournament is going to be – I don't think there will necessarily be a ton of eyeballs on LSU on Saturday, but the Friday night game should be fun to see them crank it up on TV. We'll have a show on Friday. Talk about it the rest of our week this week. We will have a show tomorrow. We are off on Thursday, but we will be back on Black Friday. We'll be live and local all day long getting ready for LSU and Texas A&M. So if you're out and about braving the crowds shopping, God bless you. I don't know why you would do it, but if that's something you want to get into, have us on. We'll be hanging out all day live and local. If you missed anything on today's show, on demand, 1045 ESPN.com. We had Jay Johnson at the beginning of the second hour. Had Pete Futek from College Football News. Talked about some coaching search names, Matt Campbell in particular in the first hour, and recapped LSU's basketball win over the Belmont Bruins. Again, coming out to Pluckers, 8:30 tonight. I will be hanging out, giving some sports trivia. Love to see you out there. We'll be back tomorrow. Start talking a little bit more about the Saints and Bills. That's obviously a Thursday kickoff. Sharif Ishak will jump aboard on the show, and we'll start to get into LSU and Texas A&M. Give me one win, Tigers. I just need one parting win over the Aggies. See y'all tomorrow. Sutton Hill.